Tony D and Little Joan asleep in the sunbeam, and this is a screenwriter's rant on Don't Let's Go to the Dogs Tonight, a movie about South Africa and how we should all feel guilty about it. Smash like and subscribe. Thank you for smash liking and subscribing. Check out my books. The links are in the description. Comedy horror in South Jersey. It's the Pineys, books 1 through 17. Available at Amazon.com. Don't forget, Kindle Unlimited is free. From the best-selling book by Alexandra Fuller comes the story of people in South Africa. And, they're having all sorts of tensions. I'm not sure which year this takes place. Seems to take place in the past. And it's about someone's personal experiences there. About a kid growing up there and being very innocent and trying to figure it all out. And, where's the movie about current South Africa, I wonder? I'm not sure about this name. Don't Let's Go to the Dogs Tonight. I don't understand what that means. But it's only in theaters. Filmed by Mbeth Davids. And, it's going to make you feel bad about South Africa. Look, I'm not a South African. It's not any of my business how you run your country. But here's what I heard. The South Africans, the British Empire came in, and they made some improvements. They got rich. Maybe they pushed some people around. Things got nasty. But now it's kind of the opposite. Yeah. There have been people who grew up in South Africa, and now they're being pushed out. I am of the mind that two wrongs don't make a right. So, was it right that people from another country came in and exploited the resources? I don't know if that's right or wrong, because those resources were kind of just sitting there. You might argue that the British raised the standard of life and brought technology and other things. They also brought their problems. But I don't think, the opposite needs to happen. I don't think you need to purge everybody from South Africa who's descended from somebody who moved there. So, they keep sort of rehashing these moments in history. But I feel like they take a side a lot of times. And history really doesn't have a side. It's like saying right now you can look and see how history will shake things out. You don't know 50 or 100 years how people will look back on your time. So, to give you an example, in the early 1900s, and this is some history that I know pretty well, in the early 1900s, there was this new thing called Columbus Day in America. And the progressives of that time touted it as this great thing because, Italian Americans were new to the country and they wanted to welcome them. And so, in order to look virtuous and nice, they pushed Columbus Day. They built statues for Columbus. And they made it this giant thing. And eventually, Italians sort of glommed onto that in America, and it became sort of Italian Americans' Day, sort of. Now, fast forward to 2025, and it's kind of just the opposite. Everybody who used to be on the progressive side, who would have been in the 1900s all for Columbus Day, now they hate Columbus Day because they look back on history and they said, oh, he's not a perfect guy or whatever. People are, products of their time. Is it right to drive people off their land? No. But is it wrong to come in and show people modern ways of farming and maybe give them a better life in exchange for that land. It's very complicated. History is very complicated. So people in Hollywood just seem to want to beat the same drama drums, and it's kind of boring, right? If you told me they were greenlighting another movie that took place in South Africa, and it turns out, the people, the white Afrikaners were the bad guys, and the good guys were the locals who were poor and oppressed. Like, they've done that movie. They've done it a bunch of times. And it doesn't really give you any new insight. It just sort of retreads the old insight. What movies should do is they should give us some sort of new perspective here. Does this movie do that? I don't know. It looks like the same old stuff to me. And they're making this movie at a time when there's some crazy esque happening in South Africa right now. So, like, that would be like making a movie about a modern president, like, let's say, Jimmy Carter, while Trump's in power. Which one is more interesting? Obviously, it's Trump. Like, why are you making a movie about Carter? Why are you going to make a movie about Gerald Ford? Those guys are boring. Trump's in power now. All kinds of crazy stuff is happening. That's the one you should be making a movie of. So it's the same sort of thing. It's like, there's all kinds of crazy stuff happening in South Africa right now. You're making a movie that took place, I don't know, was this the 80s, 40 years ago? I mean, you can, but it feels like you're kind of ignoring what's happening now. And then what's happening now puts this movie in a different context. So you might have a point. 40 years ago, some of those white Afrikaners went too far, and maybe they pushed racist policies or whatever. That is absolutely not the case now. And is Hollywood going to give that context a read in this movie? I doubt it. I sincerely doubt it. Because they're so caught up in their virtue signaling, they don't want to. They just want to look pure and golden. The grays aren't there. There was a time in the 70s during the I would call it the American Renaissance in cinema, which the grays it was all about the grays, man. All about the grays. Every character, every movie was gritty and gray, and people used drugs, and you didn't know who the good guy and the bad guy was. That was new and exciting, and people really dug it, man. Now what are we doing? Now it's the complete opposite. You have people making films, and they are 100% convinced they are absolutely morally right, and you cannot tell them anything different. And it comes out in their work. So what is this about? First act, she's growing up in South Africa, and she's noticing there's differences between her family and the other families that live there. Second act, she learns that really her people came later to South Africa, and it's very unfair. Life's unfair. And then third act, I don't know, their life falls apart and they eventually leave. Or she becomes just like one of the bitter white Afrikaners who's making a last stand. I don't know. I didn't read the book, but the drama doesn't hit me because, number one, I'm not from South Africa, and number two, it doesn't seem to touch upon what's going on there now, which seems super relevant today. So, I mean, I will say that the kid who's the lead in this, pretty good actress. Seems very charismatic, seems to carry the narrative through. So I think there is something here, but I wouldn't take, you know, the take itself on South Africa, you know, at face value. Because for two reasons. Number one, all the stuff I just said. Number two, it's based on a book which is probably locked in a certain time period. Not sure how old the book is. The book could be 20 years old for all I know, looking back on stuff that happened 40 years ago, and would have been perfectly valid, say, like 20 years ago. Like, I would say sometime around Nelson Mandela being president of South Africa would have been a great time to make this movie. You know, it would have been interesting to hear about that time period before everything, you know, when Mandela was president, things seemed to be going great in South Africa, and then now it seems to be falling apart. So there's a lot of politics in this to sort of dive into, but as a straight up drama, yeah, it might be okay if you could ignore the real world sort of stuff in it and just sort of take it at its face value. But again, I wouldn't take the politics at the face value. I sort of question the wisdom of doing that. And it's a drama, so it's not really for me. I like movies about robots and vampires. Anyhow, that's it for me, Tony D, and Little Joan somewhere behind me. Thanks for tuning in today. Thanks to all came out to the Valenzano Winery at 6 p.m. to hear my talk on how to hunt the Jersey Devil. We'll see you tomorrow.